I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Physical abuse, domestic violence, and rape have been studied extensively for a very long time. The concept of covert or hidden abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, psychological abuse is fairly new on the scene, and I want to talk about that today. I think it's really safe to say that empaths want to understand. They don't want to feel like they've misjudged someone. They don't want to feel as if they turned away from a loved one or didn't show a high enough level of empathy, love, and compassion. They're slow to judge people and really look for answers and try desperately to find resolution. And I think that's why, for us, this topic is so important. We want to understand. We want to understand how it happened, and we certainly want to avoid it in the future. I think for empaths, it's always going to be paramount, extremely important, to try and understand someone that you believe, that you love, and loved you. And this is where being an empath really doesn't serve us well. We're more likely to go back. We're more likely to put up with a pile of bullshit. We're more likely to tolerate poor behavior. We're more likely to make excuses for them in our own minds and to other people. And I think for many of us, we genuinely feel sorry for them, a sorrow, a sadness for them, knowing that they're void love, knowing they're void, absolutely void real human connection. And truly, I get that pity. You know, you'd like to think that all of us could share love and be loved and just really embrace that whole human connection. It makes it easy for us to go back. It prevents us from leaving much sooner than we ultimately do. It slows us down and creates a stumbling block for no contact. When we know no contact is the right option, we will continue trying in a situation that truly has manifested as hopeless, but we will continue to try and save it. I think when you strip away the desire to understand, when you strip away the possibilities of what could be ailing these disgusting things, you're really just left with the cold, hard facts. You're left with what your personal experience was. Now, of course, I can always only speak for myself, though clearly we all share a voice. We've shared a common experience. There's no doubt about that. In fact, many times when I receive emails from people from all around the world telling me their story, I could have very easily written that email word for word as if it had been my own personal experience. A phenomena, a bizarre occurrence that has always left me feeling quite unsettled. I think understanding is important, but I think more importantly is really remembering what it was like to be in that situation. And if you're still in it, the feeling is very, very fresh on your mind. But even away for a year now almost, the feelings that I had in that relationship have really taken the forefront. I no longer think about the things he said during the initial idealization or the love bombing. I remember the things he said beyond that point. I remember the way those things made me feel. I remember how small and unimportant and diminished I felt. I remember feeling afraid, horrified really, most of the time. Living on eggshells, afraid to even make noise in the kitchen because he had some noise hypersensitivity. I remember kind of creeping around very gingerly as not to upset his very delicate insanity. I was lied to. I was cheated on. I was called names. I was belittled. My money was stolen from me, and lots of it. I was put through absolute hell. I am no contact today and have been since I left 10, 11 months ago because of those feelings, because of those memories, and at the time, unarmed with knowledge. I really knew very little about what was happening, but I knew sure as shit it felt really, really bad. to be in that person's company. I think understanding is very important, and I hope as we go on together, we really do answer the questions that we all have. I hope we find answers that are going to sit well with us, validate us, and give us a sense of peace in that knowledge. But more importantly, on a day-to-day basis, I think remembering what it feels like to be around one of them, how horribly embarrassed, shamed, humiliated, how sad, the misery. I mean, it was absolutely horrendous. And the love bombing and idealization phase for me did not go on long. Out of the 5 years, 4.5 of those years were absolute utter hell. The first time I left, it should have been the last time. But looking for understanding, looking for answers, I went back. Had I depended on my feelings, on how it made me feel to be in his house of pain, to be around him, to fall asleep beside him, to wake up beside him, to eat beside him, all of it felt bad. I was afraid. I was completely rocked on so many occasions. I couldn't think straight. I was confused. I was heartbroken. I was literally coming unglued. I had physical illness and all kinds of problems. But I kept pushing those feelings down, thinking, Kim, you've got to be more compassionate. You've got to give him a chance. Well, why? Why would I ever give someone a chance that made me feel that way? Unpleasant feelings, for sure. Unpleasant memories, absolutely. But they are they are the absolute basis of my no contact, of my absolute understanding, I'm never going back, of my absolute 100% commitment to the fact I deserve a whole lot better than that. And so do you. When you push aside the need to know what's going on, especially if you're being hoovered, especially if you're planning your exit strategy right now, especially if you're at risk of going back, remembering the true feelings that you had, how horrible it really was, is what'll keep you safe. Now, certainly I left plenty of times, but the reality is this. I must suffer from some kind of short-term memory or something, because I forgot during those breaks from Trevor how bad it was with Trevor. You know, I would spend a month or 2 or 4 months away. My life would be back on track. I would forget how bad he was, and he'd hoover me and back I'd go. Remembering how bad it is would have really saved me a lot of trouble. I could have seriously saved myself 4 years of absolute living hell. Now, if you are in a situation today where you're at risk of staying or going back, I know that understanding is important, but if you rely exclusively, especially at this time, on the reality of how you felt, how horrible, how miserable, how hopeless, how shamed, how humiliated, how sad you were, if you rely on that knowledge rather than trying to understand them, understand how you felt, and I think you'll be a lot safer today. Had I really focused on the way I felt in the relationship, how miserable it was to be around Trevor, I could have avoided 4 years of utter hell. 4.5, actually. Could have saved myself a lot of money, a lot of humiliation, a lot of, personal shame, a lot of strained relationships with my kids, with my pets, with my mother, with my friends. It was absolutely horrendous, and I'm so glad to be free today. If you depend on your genuine feelings, I'm certain you're really going to be safe today. You're going to be able to continue with your exit strategy and never go back. I'm Kim. Thanks for watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.